Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Chef Rob. Today we are going to make chocolate cherry scones. These will be really delicious for a brunch, snacking on, a breakfast, any time of the day. First thing you want to do is preheat the oven to 375, and then you're going to have all your dry ingredients ready. We're going to take 2 full cups of the all-purpose flour and just kind of spoon it in here just like this, and then just level it off. So we want 2 full cups. You want to bake these on some parchment paper or one of those silicone baking mats. So there's 2 cups right there. And then I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Just make sure it's full. Okay, and then just kind of level it off. It's going to give it just a nice rise. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, table salt. And then 1/4 cup of the granulated sugar. Make sure you use the full amount of sugar to create the crust and the moistness. Okay. This is going to just take the whisk and just mix this up really well. You want to have some very cold butter. So either stick it in the freezer for a little bit, but very cold. You want 4 tablespoons. So 4 tablespoons is half a stick of butter. I'm using the unsalted butter. That way you're starting with no salt in your recipe. Now, a couple ways you could do this. You could take just a knife and just kind of cut it into little pieces, or since it's very cold, it will grate really easily and it will make it go a lot quicker for you. So if you have a box grater like this, just take this side of the grater, and again, very cold butter, 4 tablespoons, and just kind of grate that right in here to the flour mixture. Okay, and then just drop any of this butter in here, and always make sure you go on the inside to get any butter that may be stuck on there. Okay? So it just kind of makes it a lot easier, makes it go really fast too. Okay. So we're just going to mix this up until it is nice and crumbly. And then we're going to take some chocolate chips. I like to use the mini chocolate chips. And I'm using dried cherries. If you don't like cherries, dried cranberries work well. Raisins will work really well. Any dried type of fruit would go well in here. You could always add nuts to this if you wanted. Okay, so you can see how this is nice and crumbly, coarse crumbs. That is exactly the way you want it. Okay. So we're going to take 1/4 cup of the chocolate chips and 1/4 cup of the dried cherries. Just kind of put it right in here. Okay, drop that in here. And the cherries. Cherries are a little bit large, but that's fine because cherries and chocolate go really well together. Just going to drop that in there. And then just give it a little toss. Just take wooden spoon or spatula. Just mix that up really well. Now it's really important to have half and half. So if you don't carry half and half in your house, just buy a small little container of it and make sure it is the regular half and half, not the fat-free. Okay. So we're going to take 1 cup of half and half. Just pour that. Just make sure you have the right measurement for this. And then you're going to take this, you're going to pour this right in here. Now, don't go in mixing with your hands. That just kind of take your spatula or your wooden spoon and just kind of mix this around until the flour and the wet mixture all kind of comes together. Okay. And you can kind of mix this vigorously for about 5 seconds, or just kind of make sure it's all together, and then that is it. So it's a very wet dough, but it's going to be a very moist scone, okay, which is what we like. So you can see it is loaded with the cherries and the chocolate in here. Okay. So now I'm just going to lightly dust my work surface. So I'm using a cutting board right here, so I'm just going to kind of dust this right here. Now, just watch what I do. You can see at the bottom of the bowl, there is no flour remaining. So this is all very mixed well. I want to take this wet dough and just put it right on top of the flour. Make sure you scoop everything out because that is all really good scone in there. Okay. And then if you have a knife, just kind of get that off just like that. So you want to have your oven on to 375. These will take about 25 to 30 minutes. So you don't want to go in touching the dough like this because it's very wet. It's going to be all over your hands. So if you can go underneath and just kind of roll it like this and then just lightly roll it in the flour, then you will just be working with dough and not lose anything. See how I just have a little flour on me, and that is it. So you don't need to use all this flour here. Just need this just a little bit. We're going to get this about 3/4 of an inch thickness, and then we're going to cut it into triangles. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure all the ingredients are together. Now what I like to do is build it up just like this. Kind of take my left hand, push down on it a little bit, and then my right hand, I will just bring the dough in, just like that. Again, about 3/4 to an inch, right in there. Then you're going to take your knife and you're going to cut it into triangles. Sometimes putting it in the refrigerator for maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, the dough will cut a little easier, but this is going just fine. So you want to make sure you cut them the same, so you want 3 over here, 3 on this side here. Now I have my silicone baking mat right here. So I'm just going to spread these out. You want them spread out really well because they are going to get large. So you can make 6 or 8 of these. Okay, if you make 6, you're going to get really large ones. But one of them would be more than satisfying for breakfast. They freeze really well. Okay, just put that right over there. And it's really important that they're all the same size because you want them to come out of the oven all at the same time. Okay, just like that. So this is the way it's going to go in the oven, but we have to put a little egg wash on it first. So we're going to take 1 medium to a large egg. Okay, most of the time we usually have the large or extra large in the house. So you're just going to take 1 egg and just about a ½ teaspoon of sugar. So just add just a little bit, just kind of sweetens it up. Take a fork, just beat this really well. And you would have enough to make other batches with this egg here, but you got to use eggs, so really important. And it gives it a little sweetness. So I want to get this off. I don't want this on here. So I'm just going to put that back in the bowl. And now you're just going to lightly brush the top of the scones. And just a little bit of sugar just gives a little bit of sweetness. You really don't have to do the sides. You can do around there if you like. Put these towards the middle rack and try to remember to take a sheet of aluminum foil and put it on the rack above. It's going to prevent it from getting too dark too quickly. Okay. The way to tell if these scones are cooked all the way through is you just kind of take your finger when you about 20-25 minutes in, check them. If it feels like it's going to sink in here, it means it still needs cooking. If it springs back, it is all done. So when you put this in the oven, you're going to have aluminum foil on the rack above. It's just going to protect them. 375, 25 to 30 minutes, but check them in around 20. Everybody's oven's a little bit different, okay? So here are our chocolate and cherry scones. They actually took about 22 minutes, so check them around 18 to 20 minutes. They may get done a little bit sooner, but I just want to show you. See, if you put your finger in there, you can see it bounce back, and that shows that it is done. You don't want to overcook them, because if you overcook them, they can get very dry. These are super moist. Take these, put them on a really nice platter. Have a nice brunch. Again, they freeze well, but when they come right out of the oven, at least have one, because they're so good. I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope to see you in person at the libraries. Bye-bye.